I want you guys to kind of bear with me here a little bit, at least for a small portion of this review, and of course the next review, which is the Marvel Legends animated Carnage. A tornado had recently kind of, hit my area, so a lot of the power has gone down and out. By the time this video gets out, the power's already up and fine, but since I had this video recorded, and everything, I didn't want to, re-record it just because, obviously got to release on a time schedule here, but I'm making do with what I got, so I'm kind of working up off of a bit of a backup generator. So the lighting is going to be a little bit funky, but we're still going to try and keep things as much of a review as possible. Just, maybe hopefully ignore some of the bad lighting, but I will, do my best. Of course, without further ado, here he is, the Marvel Legends Lizard. And here he is. Now we're just going to go over the details first here. This figure is, it's pretty good, but, of course I did do some custom work to him, mainly with the head. I switched it out to, give him a more animated series look. The color matching comes up really weird on camera for some reason. It shows different tones, but the greens definitely do match up, off camera, so I don't know what's up with my camera. It might just be the lighting, but, he's a really nice figure, a little bit limited in some areas, which I will go over, but I will just go over some details here. There is a little bit of, red on his coat, from another figure, because I had him stored away, when I did move, so I'm gonna have to kind of clean him off a little bit, and there actually is a hair on his head here, if I can try and get that off there, but yeah, so here is the custom head that I did, buy off of eBay, and, paint up and put on him. I think I painted it up pretty decently. I couldn't really get on the inside of the mouth there, because it's just so tightly packed in there, and my brushes just would not get in there, but I tried to paint it as best as possible, and I did try to color match as good as possible too. The color matching on camera just doesn't look good at all for some reason, and of course, with these custom heads, which sometimes I really don't like, is that I have to actually kind of put hot glue in there and make my own kind of ball joint, which I wish some companies, well, not really companies, I guess, action figure head customizers would actually, make the ball joints themselves. That way I could put them on, because it just comes off like that. But, what can you do? As of course, my last video I did, a custom head showcase, and that guy, did an outstanding job making the holes for the ports and all that to put on the figure itself, and I just wish a lot of customizers would do that, just to help out the consumer a little bit, because it is a pain in the butt trying to get these heads to actually fit on the figure. Luckily this one fits on pretty well, and the articulation for it is pretty smooth. But as you can see, I painted it up and everything. Some spots look like they kind of missed a little bit, just due to putting the top coat on and some of the paint coming off, but I really do need to get this red off this coat. That is very unsightly. Unfortunately, some of my figures' paint got on them, but as you can see, I also did his hands up, basically just kind of trimmed them down a little bit, at least the tips of the fingers, because he did kind of have gecko hands and feet. Of course, I did the feet too, and I just kind of painted them to look like they had some claws on them. But yeah, he had weird gecko hands and gecko feet. It was just really, really weird. And I was just, not about that. Because my lizard growing up was pretty much this lizard. A nice, monstrous, actual lizard-looking lizard with claws on his hands and feet. And just looking really, really nice. And of course, this tail, too, is a very, very nice tail. And we'll get more into that tail soon, but it's detailed very, very nice. Love the sculpt work on it. He has this very nice trench coat here, and he just looks, one for one, just like the animated series now. I'm so thankful I got that custom head, just to make him just look that much more close to the show. Because while I do love the retro card series, they don't exactly do a decent job when it comes to making it look like the show. They kind of just do their own thing in some ways, but yeah, he's just a really, really nice little figure. He can't really do too much, but he does have some sort of a shelf presence, and he fills out the animated series collection, which I do like. And I just love the just the texturing, especially the way this coat feels. It's very soft and pliable, so you can move it around for posing, so it will not get in the way. He's just very, very nice detailing. I just love the tattered clothes, because every time I just think of the lizard, I just think of, the tattered, kind of coat. I just think of the purple pants and the black t-shirt. The animated series just really did a good job on the villains and characters in that show. And this figure really does show it through now, especially with that head. Very nice detailing on this figure all around. And I just love it. I mean, it's a nice little figure. He doesn't, of course he doesn't really come with much or do much, but, he is a very nice figure to have. So while he does look nice, I will admit his posing can be a little bit, limited. Now, as far as the articulation goes, I did put one of his other heads on just because, with custom heads sometimes, especially ones where I have to make my own ball joints, the head will like to pop off. So I'm just using one of the normal heads he does come with just to show the articulation a lot better and, not have the head pop off constantly, because with the custom heads, they are kind of just, there to put on, and then you just have them displayed like that. Even though you can, of course, articulate with the custom heads, it's a little bit more difficult. But of course, for the head, he has a double ball joint system here for his neck, but he can look down pretty significantly, about that far. The actual disc hinge for the neck is a little bit stiff. I don't even think it moves, to be honest, because I've tried and tried and tried. You can look up about that far. Does have full 360 rotation and some slight side to side, so you can get them an expressive look right there. It's not too bad. I do love that it's double jointed. Very soft and pliable coat here, so the arms can swing all the way around. They can go up about, I'd say, that far. And then he does, of course, have a bicep swivel and a double jointed pinless elbow. And the wrist does hinge and swivel around. You can hinge up and down and move it all around. And then as for the torso, he does have the torso system a lot of the Spidey figures are using nowadays, which is the top diaphragm here, which you can move around. And you can ab crunch with it about that far. But then there is a second ab crunch where you can crunch forward about that far. And going backward, not so much, because the coat does kind of hinder just a little bit. And then, of course, the legs here, they can kick forward about that far. Kicking back, not so much, because he does hit his own butt. He does have a thigh swivel, double jointed pinless knees, like so. And then for the foot, they can have a boot cut right here, which is very nice. It's hidden. I almost didn't think he had one, but he does have a foot pivot right there, and the foot can move down about that far and move up not so much. But yeah, I mean, he's pretty decently articulated. And of course, there's another look at the foot claws that I painted up to as well. But yeah, I mean, he's pretty decently articulated. I guess you can consider too the tail articulated, because it can spin pretty much all the way around. And of course, one cool thing that they did with this is the tail is actually a bendy wire. So you can actually, bend the tail around in certain ways that you want. Not too much, especially around the thicker areas, but it is pretty good articulation to have nonetheless. So he is pretty decently articulated, but, he is the lizard, so you're going to want to get him in some more poses than what I did. He's a hard one to pose, to be honest, but I still think he's pretty cool. But without further ado, let's get into what he does actually come with. Articulation aside, his accessories are honestly, pretty cool. Straight out of the box, he does have this head on, and of course these two hands. These hands are pretty good, and they're ones I display him with, but I feel like we could have gotten an extra of both of them just for more options. And of course, he does also have one fist and one open grabbing hand, which of course, much like the open ones, I wish we got two more. And taking a look at the reason he has an open hand, he does come with these two kind of like science bottle flask things, which are pretty interesting. They're cool to have. I feel like you can have a lot of options with these, especially if you have a Green Goblin or a Doc Ock. You can have them hold these two as well, which I think is pretty cool. They're, nothing too special about them. You get a red one and a yellow one. They're pretty molded, pretty decently. Not really too much to say about these things other than they exist and they're in the box, so you can, of course, use them. And of course, just showing you how they are used, you just take them and you can just squeeze them on in his hands, and there he is holding one of his little, honestly, I don't know what they're called. I'm going to call them like a flask or something. I know there's a scientific name for them. I just don't remember. But yeah, he can hold both of them. And as for the head, he comes with this one out of the box. I don't know how to feel about this head. I personally don't really like it. But I know some people might like it. This is more of a callback to his very, very early appearances in the, like Amazing Fantasy era of Spider-Man. I mean, it's a cool head to have. Not exactly my favorite. So, I mean, I won't really be displaying him with it because he is in my animated series shelf. But, I mean, it's a cool head, I guess. It's, he has, like, no teeth at all. He just has, like, that tongue that's painted up very nicely in there. And it's the eyes are just, like, white out with that black dot. It almost looks like a kind of, mentally there, Dr. Connors. It's kind of cool, but, it's not exactly my lizard, Of course, he has that very nice sculpt work going on with the scales. And he had another hair on him. I don't know what's up with this figure and liking to collect these little hairs on him that just get so annoying to actually take off. They just get caught in his scales or something. But yeah, I mean it's a decent looking head. It's just very I mean, at least it's lizard-like. I can say that. And as for the second head that he does come with, this one I did paint the eyes. I believe the eyes were yellow. Then I did them red instead. Didn't mean to make that rhyme, but this head is definitely a lot better than the other head. I know there's some hardcore Spidey fans who probably like the classic head, but to me, this is my lizard head. That, I just look at it and I'm like, yep, that's the lizard. But this is a more early 2000s lizard. Kind of the lizard design that comes after the animated series look, because this was the lizard head that kind of dominated the 2000s. But it is a pretty nice looking head. As you see, the teeth are painted up very, very nicely. It has that nice long tongue. Has a very more narrow, almost crocodile-like head going on. And he has these very, very, very nice eyes. Even though I painted mine red to try and kind of match the animated series aesthetic before I got the custom head. But, of course, you can see the custom head next to this head here. And, yeah, I still like the custom head a lot more. It just looks better, in my opinion. But I still really do like this head. Don't get me wrong. And it was the one I was using before I got the custom, so it's pretty good. And as far as the last accessory goes, if you want to consider it an accessory, because it does come in the package detached, is his tail. And so what you want to do is just, see that peg right there, and that peg hole, you just kind of lift it on up into the coat, and you just, peg it on in. Might give you a little bit of trouble, but once you get it in there, it stays in there, and you can use it as an articulation point. And of course, the wire, in the tail is bendy, so you can bend the tail around. So I guess you could technically call it an accessory, even though it is pretty much just a part of his body. So this isn't going to be a usual pose test where I put music on top of it, but I just do want to show some of the poses you can get him in. Because to be honest, it is quite difficult posing him. I'm not going to lie. But I mean, he does look pretty decent in the poses I was able to actually get him into. So that's why I am just kind of, talking over it. But of course, getting back to the figure, I do want to talk about the comparisons. So of course, here he is next to the retro carded Walmart exclusive animated Spider-Man. And I think this scale works pretty well, especially with the custom head that I have on my lizard there. Because I remember Night of the Lizard, I believe, was, I think, one of the first episodes of the animated series. But of course, here's another Spider-Man figure. That being the, if I don't drop it, the black suited Spider-Man from the Carnage and Black Spider-Man VHS 2-pack. Because this Black Spider-Man is a different size compared to the retro card Spidey from Walmart. But I mean, yeah, this is a really decently sized lizard, and I think he works for both of them in their respective ways. And of course, we're going to bring in some villains to compare to as well, which here is the Marvel Legends SDCC Venom from the retro carded series. Sporting the, of course, animated series look, and I did completely paint his arms, so I'll be doing a review of him sometime in the future. And of course, the next review in line, which is the Marvel Legends VHS 2-pack Carnage, which I do have a custom head on for, and I have him painted up and finished as well. And of course, my last animated review, which is Morbius and the I believe it was Doctor Strange 2-pack? So, now for the final thoughts. Right off the bat, I just want to say I'm sorry if this review was kind of choppy. I just, there's not really too much to talk about this guy, and posing, I wasn't able to really get too much poses out of him. But as far as the figure itself, I think he looks great. I like the look of him. I just wish I could do more with him, The neck joint, I can't really get to move around too much. At least maybe, at least have him look up a little bit more. So I wasn't really able to really do that. But I think he's still a really nice looking figure. And honestly, if you are really just trying to complete your animated shelf, you definitely do need the lizard. He's a very important, I would say an important part of the animated series. But he does look really, really nice. I really am not a big fan of the one head he does come with. I do like the other head he does come with, though. I just feel like he, could have came with a little bit more. Some of the choices were a little bit, interesting, to say the least. But yeah, I don't know. This head right here that's shown right now, I'm just not really too big of a fan of it. It's cool and all, but I could take it or leave it. But anyway, that'll be pretty much it for this review. So make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll